Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Hookah Anonymous, and you are now rocking with Mickey Truth. She live up to her name, not the fame. So make sure y'all subscribe to her channel and stay updated on what's real. Bye.
Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. Coming from where I come from, they doubted me, but I came up. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm, trying to conquer the world.
Good reporting ass Mickey.
We love you, Mickey.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Mickey Truth, aka the Queen of Paperwork, and I am back with another video. As always, all information contained in this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. All information used in this video is per the Fair Use Act, and any conclusion that you draw is on you, not me. So let's get it. Next up is one of my favorites, okay? Pooh Shiesty, rapper from Memphis, Tennessee, who signed to 1017 Records, which is Gucci Mane, right? I actually enjoy listening to his music on a daily, especially Get It Back in Blood and the remix featuring Lil Durk. I can't even lie, all right? Now, if you don't know, in 2022, he was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Originally he had a lot of charges. However, it came down to being sentenced to 5 years for one charge. But we're going to get into that in part two. Like I said, I broke it down to different parts. Now, part one is in regards to a particular document that kind of gave me deja vu, because I actually did a video about Boosie at one point, and I posed the same question. But I'm going to ask the question at the end. Let's get into the paperwork. Document 228 that was filed by Bobby Brown, and not the singer, the actual co-defendant on Pooh Shiesty federal case. In this document is titled Defendant's Reply to Government's Reply to Defendant's Response in Opposition to Government's Restitution Memorandum. For those who don't know what that is, anytime there's a victim on a case, it's like the restitution, right? What you pay back to the victim. Throughout this document, it outlines what the government claims, right? That Latrell Williams, a.k.a. Pooh Shiesty, Bobby Brown, and Jaden DeRosa, right, were in a buyer-seller relationship with the two victims during a narcotics transaction that took place on October 9th, 2020. I'm going to get more into the actual charge in part two, but that's just to tell you exactly what's going on in this document. Now, if you go down to page 4, okay, it says here that as outlined in Brown's response, Cerna, which is one of the witnesses or victims, even admitted that Cooper had a firearm. Cooper is another victim, which Cooper showed to Williams. Williams is Pooh Shiesty. It even says that see attachment exhibit B, Williams' answers to interrogatories, and I know I slaughtered that word, but y'all know what I'm saying, in Miami-Dade County, case number 2020 CV 23029-CA-01, page 5. Moreover, the evidence shows that Cerna himself possessed a firearm during this transaction. So, what I'm going to do now is go to that actual document and see what they're talking about. Let's get to the work. So this document outlines the questions that were asked of Pooh Shiesty in the civil case and also the answers. It does state that these questions are being answered by Latrell Williams with aid of counsel. So his lawyers were there and may have said some of the stuff also. Okay, let's get into it. So question 2, it does say list former names, where you live, how long you live, your birthday. He did that. So let's get into next the actual questions pertaining to the case. So if you go down to question 4, it says describe in detail how the incident described in the complaint happened. Answer: I was there to buy drugs for Mr. Cooper and Mr. Cerna, whom are both known drug dealers. Mr. Cooper entered my vehicle with a camouflage bag. In the bag was codeine liquid and a .30 handgun that he displayed. When he displayed the handgun, it was my understanding he was attempting to rob me, and I told him to get out my car. As he exited the car, I heard a gunshot and then another. I did not initiate, or instigate the shooting or any violence for that matter, nor did I harm or threaten to harm anyone. After the gunshots, I saw Mr. Saunders reaching for what I believe was his gun, and I told him not to try it. 5. Were you charged with any violation of law arising out of the incident described in the complaint? If so, what was the nature of the charge? What plea or answer, if any, did you enter to the charge? Answer: yes, I was charged with conspiracy to possess firearm and furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. I entered a plea agreement for the charge of possession, firearms, and furtherance of drug trafficking crime in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 9240. I did not take a plea or agree to any charge and insinuating that I was part of a robbery or that I shot or threatened anyone. 6. State the facts upon which you relay for each affirmative defense in your answer. Answer: both Mr. Saunders and Mr. Cooper brought firearms to a meeting to sell me drugs and were aggressors. I did not attempt to hurt or threaten anyone, but for Mr. Saunders and Mr. Cooper brandishing their weapon and initiating violence, the incident would not have occurred. I also did not shoot either Mr. Saunders or Mr. Cooper or instruct anyone to shoot them. 7. Do you contend any person or entity other than you is or may be liable in whole or part for the claims asserted against you in this lawsuit? If so, state the full name and address of each such person or entity, the legal basis for your contention, the facts or evidence upon which your contention is based, and whether or not you have notified each person or entity of your contention. Answer: yes. Mr. Cooper and Mr. Saunders showed up to the drug deal with firearms, brandishing the weapons, and initiated violence. Once Mr. Cooper displayed the .380 handgun, there were several individuals that were armed. I do not know who shot him. He then goes on to list both victims under that question. Next, list the name and addresses of all persons who are believed or known by you, your agents, or your attorney to have any knowledge concerning any of the issues in this lawsuit, and specify the subject matter about which the witness has knowledge. Please include the names and addresses of all witnesses who were present on scene during the incident as seen in video. Answer: the following individuals may have knowledge about the facts and circumstances related to this case: Jeffrey Saunders, Brandon Cooper, which are listed as a drug dealer and has knowledge about gun possession; Bobby Brown, who is one of the co-defendants, and the state witnessed Mr. Saunders reaching for his gun; Jaden DeRosa, it doesn't have his part of it. It then goes on to list Kyra Harmingling, has knowledge about probation; Ariel Klipich, and I know I'm slaughtering these names, but that's the AUSA for the case. Vasquez, a AUSA. It then says another AUSA. It has police officers listed and so on and so forth. FBI agents. And then it says here, defendants reserve the right to amend this answer as discovery remains ongoing. Question 9. Have you heard or do you know about any statement or remark made by or on behalf of any party to this lawsuit other than yourself concerning any issue in this lawsuit? If so, state the name and address of each person who made the statement or statements, the name and address of each person who heard it, and the date, time, place, and substance of each statement. Answer: statement of Jeffrey Saunders to detectives on October 9, 2020 and October 10, 2020 at the hospital. Statement of Brandon Cooper to detectives on October 9th and October 10, 2020 at the hospital. Detainees at FDC that had conversations with Mr. Cooper's. Names to follow after Mr. Cooper's sentencing on his fraud charges. Question 10. State the name and address of every person known to you or your agents or your attorneys who have knowledge about or possession, custody, or control of any model plant, map, drawing, motion picture, videotape, photograph pertaining to any fact or issue involved in this controversy, and describe it as each. These some long questions, okay? Answer: to the best of my knowledge, the local news, the United States government, and Bay Harbor police have the information, as well as Mr. Sana and Mr. Cooper themselves, who were previously provided information by government entities. Question 11. Do you intend to call any expert witnesses at the trial of this case? Answer: experts will be disclosed in accordance with the court's trial order. All right, so question 12 basically asks if they made any, agreement with anyone that would limit the party's liability, and the answer was no. Question 13 is now asking to describe what is seen in the video, and the answer is defendant objects to this request as the surveillance video which purports to be the subject of this request was not attached to or provided to the defendant as part of this discovery request. Notwithstanding the foregoing objection, I was seated in the driver's seat of the green McLaurin sports car, wearing a yellow shirt and dropping $40,000, and my irreplaceable original music during the incident alleged by the plaintiff. 14. Describe with particular defendant relationship to an individual named Bobby Brown. And it said answer: Bobby Brown is a friend. Then it says, for question 15, state whether defendant employed and or paid an individual named Bobby Brown to manage his business affair on or about October 9th, 2020. The answer: defendant objects to this request as it is vague and ambiguous, and the terms employed, managed, and business affair are undefined. 16. State the factual basis upon which the defendant maintains that the plaintiff, along with Brandon Cooper, agreed to sell the defendant narcotics as alleged in the defendant's second, third, and fourth affirmative defenses, and state the full name and address of each and every person who has knowledge of those facts. Then goes on to continue to state both victims, right, provided full admissions to agents that they were to sell weed and lean. They also state that the two victims provided statements to the detectives that they were there to sell drugs. The two victims testified before the grand jury. The two victims continued to provide statements that they were dealing drugs. Text messages between myself and Mr. Sonner speaking about lean and weed. And then it says C also answers to number 8. Now, it then goes on to question 17. These are a lot of questions. Please provide defendant's cell phone number that was active on October 9th, 2020. Okay, so that goes into social media. Pooh, Shiesty, boom, boom, boom. All right, so then that's it. So he did have to sign this and get it notarized that he was the one that was there to answer the question. So that was a lot of information. My question to you: is this considered cooperating with the government, right? Or with the state, or cooperating at all? Now, I'm going to save what I think for part 2, when we actually break down all the documents in the case, including the plea agreements for all defendants involved. So make sure you put in the comments what you think. Is providing information during a civil case, which is then listed on a criminal case, cooperating? Or does it not matter if it's outlining that someone else provided information already pertaining to the criminal case? Y'all let me know. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to pull up on your girl Mickey Truth, and always hit MickeyTruth.com and get you that merch, because you know your girl stay with that work. So until next time, holla! Storm trying to conquer the world. I made it through the storm.